Hi people, how you? Will be back to my YouTube channel. I'm Victoria, and in case you're new here and in case you're returning, thank you very much. Have you subscribed? If not, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and subscribe and press that notification bell so that every time I upload a new video, you get notified. So it is a Sunday and it's time for Trending with Victoria. Remember, these are always 5 stories that come your way every Sunday, and yes, on my channel, and they are always stories that come from any part of the world. What stories made your week? The following did make my week. Our first story comes in from Zimbabwe, where there has been an hashtag trending for the whole week, Zimbabwean Lives Matter. If you follow me on my pages, then you know that I've shared this for almost the whole of this week. And why? Because the people of Zimbabwe need your support. They need you to join them in the cause for this movement. Why this movement? This movement was started up on the 31st of July 2020, because that is when the hashtag was started, and it started because of the clashes that happened between the civilians and the police. These civilians came to the streets to protest against the bad governance that is in Zimbabwe, and in their words they say that Munyanyawanga has to step down, he has to go, and they go with the hashtag people power, just like it is in Uganda, because the majority have spoken, he has to go. And because of this movement has been going on, some people that one of the people that started up this was one Jacob Ngaruve. Was one Jacob Ngaruvume, the leader of Transform in Zimbabwe. He was joined by opposition members, he was joined by civic organizations and so many other people in Zimbabwe. And when they joined, some of them were arrested and put in prison. And yes, as we speak right now, some of them have been given bails, or some of them have been given bail, others have been stopped from getting bail. And because of that, this movement is still moving on. This hashtag is still trending in Zimbabwe, and I feel they are doing it for the right cause. And this speaks more about African leaders. By the way, when you hear where people are saying people power, when you hear people coming up with these movements, it is because of the leadership of some of the African leaders we have. Imagine President Munanangwa took over from the late President Mugabe. Now that was after a coup d'etat that happened in Zimbabwe, and he promised good. He promised good to the people of Zimbabwe, and the people of Zimbabwe are actually not seeing it. So they decided to come up and speak up and see that there's anything to do with Robert Mugabe, because Munanangwa is serving as a president on in the party that Robert Mugabe was part of. So people are tired with everything to do with this party. And just like I was saying, this speaks a lot about African governments, people who want to overstay in power, people who want to show you change when they are in a certain party, but in actual sense they do not want to change. They are even worse than the people that they took over. So it is what is happening in Zimbabwe, and I urge us to join in the movement, much as we just like most of us join the Black Lives Movement. Let us join in and support the people of Zimbabwe and show them some love, so that the dictator steps down, so that this that is going on, the imprisoning of people who have come out to speak, who have come out to speak up, who have come out to protest this government, are supported, and let them feel our love. That leads us to story number 2, which comes in from Lebanon, where there happened an explosion, and that happened in their capital city, which goes by the name Beirut. Yes, in Beirut there happened an explosion. We woke up to the news that there's been an explosion in Beirut, and yes, there was an hashtag that was pray for Lebanon. And why? It's because an explosion happened. It's so bad that that explosion happened in this COVID season. And yes, when it happened, so many people were hurt. well, they lost over 150 people, and others are victims, got injuries here and there because of the explosions. Now, these explosions, their president came out to say that they were either due to negligence or they were caused by external forces. To him, he believes that there is someone who tried to bomb his country, and he asked France to support him to see who actually did it. Yet, in another news, people say that it was caused because of ammonium nitrate, which was stored at their customs port in Lebanon, that it has been there for a long time, and they believe that it's the one that exploded, and when it exploded, it caused all those problems that happened in the Beirut. We are praying for the people of Lebanon. We pray that you go through this. We pray that God helps you, and yes, we are standing with you. And the story number 3 comes in from Uganda, and it comes in on a light note, where the president of Uganda, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, did it again. Yes, he's a 70 plus, but he still has the energy. He got the energy like he's like some people would not believe he got the energy, but this time around he still went ahead and did 40 push-ups, and he shared it on his Twitter handle that he told the Bazukulu, that the Bazukulu in English mean grandchildren, that he told the Bazukulu that they can exercise from their homes, and he did it again. He shared a video of him doing 40 push-ups from his home. And yes, I believe we can also do these exercises. Like, what stops you at 20 plus or 30 plus from doing exercises, yet a 75 plus can do these push-ups? What is stopping you? Let us go ahead and also do a lot of exercising of our bodies, because really a 70-year-old, a 70 plus cannot shame us by doing 40 push-ups, and we cannot do anything. We should also do a lot of exercising. I think
Speak up.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40.
Message speaks to the people who do not take exercise seriously to go ahead and do a lot of exercise, because if a 70 plus can do it, then you also can do it. But anyway, that comes at a time when people were circulating news that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was not fine, that he was hospitalized, he was sick. There's so much that was going on. So in order to put down that pressure, in order to, to retaliate back, just put out a video to tell them that, you know what, I am fine, I'm doing well, and I'm here exercising at my home while you're there talking about my not being fine. And that leads us to story number 4, which still comes in from Uganda, where one Andrew Mwenda, a political commentator, should we call him that, or should we call him the old man of the clan that he calls himself or refers to himself? He's one person here in Uganda who is always hosted on different political shows, a very controversial person. He will be government today and will be anti-government the next day. And in the recent years, in the past past few years, he has been considered as someone who is being used by the government of Uganda to say the things that he says. Whereas he says he's not part of the government, people say he's part of the government. Anyways, he came out to join the National Unity Platform that he's headed by His Excellency Bobby Wine, or the Ghetto Gladiator, or Robert Sentamu Chagulanyi. He came out to join this party because he wants to also take over the seat of the presidency in this party. And to him, he was like, the person who leads this particular party, who happens to be Honorable Chagulanyi, has always said the NRM is not unfair, the sole candidature and all this. So he came out to see whether he can also take over from Honorable Chagulanyi. He wants to contest for the position of the chairmanship in that party.
I went to the headquarters of the National Unity Platform NUP, registered as a member and paid, bought all this paraphernalia, and picked forms to run as a presidential candidate of NUP. So in the primaries of NUP, where they had anointed Bobby Wine or Robert Kyagulanyi as the sole presidential candidate, just like NRM, I want to challenge him so there is democratic contest in these political parties. And I think I am going to defeat him.
Which I do not think is going to be possible, because he has abused this party for the longest time possible, from the time it was a pressure group that was People Power to today as we speak, to the time he actually even went to pick the nomination forms, to the time he went to he picked that nomination forms. He went on and he said whatever he said on Twitter, and he sent he has said a lot of messages. He sent out a lot of messages, and he said in the statements he made that he's surprised that he wasn't actually abused like the way people of this platform actually attack people on social media. He actually was really surprised by the way he was welcomed. He thought that he was going to be thrown out. He was rather left to, go ahead, register, pick nomination forms, and go ahead with whatever he wants to do. And yes, people are saying that he's doing this because of a certain motive, and they think it is geared towards the ruling party, and they think he's a mole, but we shall see how it all goes down. And that story comes in from Uganda, and it comes in on a sad note of the death of one Viola Kakai, and it is because of domestic violence. One of the things that has been talked about during this COVID period has been domestic violence, in families. People have not been used to being with each other. So when COVID happened and there was a lockdown, and some people in some professionals are not working, a lot of domestic violence happened among couples. And yes, some marriages have survived, others have not survived, others have lost their lives, like one Viola Kakai, whose husband killed on a Saturday of last week. Yes, she reported back home from work. She was working at IHK and hospital in Uganda, and when she reported back home, a colleague drove her home, and it said that he had he was always not happy with this colleague bringing back this lady home. But if you're not driving and you have someone to help you, what do? So he wasn't happy with it, and yes, he got a stone and stoned the colleague's car, and the colleague drove away, and he took all that anger and took it onto the woman. He took all that anger, and he instead attacked the woman, who he beat to death, who he chopped to death. It is so sad that is going on, and it speaks a lot about this season, and a lot about families, that I think it is high time that we loved each other more beyond our faults. it's high time you loved your husband or wife beyond their faults, because if these things are happening, how many people are going to die? Because when you look at Viola's story, because it actually made rounds on social media, it is an act of violence. It is an act of not understanding one another. It's her husband who actually ran away is a teacher. He's not working anymore. Now, just because you're angry, you should not carry your anger to another person. He did this in presence of his lovely children, and one of them pleaded to him not to do that to his mom, but he also hit that child also with an axe. Though the child did not die, but the mother of the children died. And yes, there is a fundraising for Viola that I saw on Sheila Nduhuchire's page. Sheila Nduhuchire is a journalist. You can go and find out more, because they want to help these kids, and since they are left with no one. Their mother was now the breadwinner since the dad was not working, and she died and she was hacked to death because of going out to look for something to eat, because of things that could be solved, because she decided to stay amidst all that. But you know what happened was death. And my last message is to someone out there: if you feel the marriage is not working out, sweetheart, if you feel the marriage is not working out, you've talked to the people who you know think can talk to you people, and you feel it isn't working out, walk out before you lose your life. Those have been my 5 stories that made my week. Which stories made your week? Please go to the comment section and let's have a chat there. See you in another video.